Yay!
Hi.
It worked. Hi.
Yay.
I
Wait, are we
know.
recording right now?
We are.
Oh my goodness. Hello.
I know I'm a weirdo. I don't really edit anything yet. I probably should, but I think it's more fun this way.
I like it. And if you ever need help like editing, I can always kind of show you like my my tricks are like kind of like makeshift editing. It's not like official, but I feel like I could help. Oh
I'll
wait,
get
my
there.
screen just shut off.
Oh,
Did
but
it?
you're still there.
Yeah, wait, I have to make sure I turn off. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're
I
fine.
forgot that we're recording right now.
It's like the glamour.
I want to make sure that my screen, when it comes off, like it doesn't shut off our recording, right? Like,
It's not. It's still recording, and there's not a delay. So I don't know. I guess maybe it's. I don't know. I don't know the rhyme or reason.
okay,
It's still going, so
cool.
we're
Okay, good.
so.
So, hi.
Hi. Yeah, I got a beer and I had to pour it out because it was gross. So we're on to another beer.
I bought a hard seltzer that is not like my like usual White Claw. It's like a little sweeter than normal, and so I'm
Um,
just kind of like getting through this pack slowly, like it's
yeah,
I
like
don't
this.
know.
The second one isn't bad. It's Sweetwater Hazy IPA.
Nice.
The first one was called Hoppy Christmas, and that was like leftover from the season, and it tasted like ass and not good ass.
Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
like, let's just switch. I don't know because I have.
yeah.
So in our garage, we have a lot of parties at the house. It's very much an entertaining house, and we have in the garage what we call the shame fridge, which that's
Uh-huh.
basically all the beer and whatnot that people leave after parties.
That's excellent. I love that because then you always have like a variety,
Yeah,
right?
but the
Choices.
problem is everybody comes to our parties. They bring the shitty beer and they drink the good shit.
Oh no. No,
So
there should be like a rule on the thing, like never bring shitty beer.
I think we've started that, and the next party, I think my roommate addressed that. I think on the 19th we're having a pirate party.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, so all I need is a shirt because I have everything else.
Yeah, I figured. I was gonna ask. And do you have
Yeah,
your nails good for it?
my nails are terrible, especially since at work we've been building the store, so like they're awful.
Oh
They're
no.
shameful, bad nails, and they're super short. I just keep telling everybody they're lesbian nails. No offense to lesbians, but you know what I mean.
I do. The ones that don't hurt.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there have been moments. I mean, I was about to hold back and be like, yeah, but I'm like, there have been moments where guys have asked me to put fingers
Oh.
in places, and I show them my nails, so they're like, never mind. I'm like, yeah, that's what I
And
thought.
then you get the wild ones that are like, do it anyway.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh God, I'm not gonna Freddy Krueger your ass. That would be terrible.
I love
Um,
how this podcast is starting.
I know. Well, this is
Love
pretty much
it.
this is the fun. See, that's why I'm just like, I don't want to plan any of it. I don't want to like
Hell yeah.
spontaneity. It's more organic. It's fun that way,
I
and
love
it's
it.
fun. And you're the first person that I've actually talked to that you've listened to the podcast before I've talked to you, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, I got a little taste. I've listened to the first episode. I have to catch up because
Oh my God,
things have been like wild here, but like
oh, I'm sure.
I plan to, but I'm so impressed with how many you have up so far. It's like
I know you're
you
number
really took
4.
the ball. Yeah, you took the ball and ran, and I love it.
Well, I'm trying to do one a week, and I know that may be too much, but I'm like, yeah, I can do it.
I think it's goals. And then whenever it feels like too much, you can know it's always you're the boss, applesauce.
Yeah, I know. I can
Easy.
always take a break. But
Hmm.
yeah, the one with Bridget was fun because Bridget I've known, oh God, since shit, grade school.
Yeah, she seemed cool as hell.
Yeah, no, she's
You guys
great. She's also an Aquarius, which is, why
oh,
we're both like, dynamic duo.
love that.
Yeah. I love my
Yeah.
Aquarian folks. What sign are you
I'm an
again?
I'm a Capricorn sun, but I have
That's
an
right.
Aquarius Venus.
That's
So
right. And so do I.
I feel yay, yeah. So I feel like that probably was why we instantly bonded,
Yeah. My
even
Aquarius,
through
my son, my son is Aquarius, my moon is Aries, and my rising is Virgo. Yeah.
nice. Nice. Yeah, I have Capricorn sun, Leo moon, and Pisces rising.
Nice.
Which I've only ever learned this stuff as of like 2 years ago. But as soon as I did, I was hooked because I was like, oh my gosh, I never identified with being a Capricorn that much because I was
Yeah.
always, I think, a little more chaotic than the average Capricorn, but the other placements totally made sense to me. So I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. But
Capricorn's interesting to me because it's like it's so close to Aquarius that it just
mhm.
almost feels like an Aquarius, but it's not the same, obviously.
I feel
Kind
like
of go.
Capricorns get like a rap for being like always like business oriented and super organized people. And I feel like
You don't
I'm
strike me as that.
no,
I mean, not that I know you.
I'm exactly like I never really identified with all of that, but I do have my own ways of organization, I guess. And like I am organized in my creative process. So I mean, it does play out in some ways, but I'm just like so happy to have found out I was a Pisces rising because that just made way more sense to me,
Yeah.
just in general. And and when I learned all the rest, like I was just so delighted to be an Aquarius anything because I've always been jealous of the Aquarians. Like I think
It's
you guys
funny
are
because
magical.
you strike me as an Aquarius anyway, but maybe it's because you're Venus, your heart's an Aquarius.
Yeah.
So,
It
and then
might
I'm
be.
double.
That's good. Well, I'm happy to know that. Like anytime my sparkles come out, I feel like that must be the Aquarius Venus.
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
I always felt that was a good sign. I don't know, but it's always different. I mean, do you notice that like Capricorns are different from month to month?
I've
Because
heard that. Yeah,
I,
because I mean, I have heard that. I feel like isn't that probably true for all the signs though? That
yeah,
there's
yeah.
like,
I mean, just Capricorns, but I notice like I like February Aquarians a lot better than January, and it's not because I'm a February Aquarius, but it's just there's a different vibe. I feel like January Aquarians are a little maybe more uptight. I don't know. They're
you
weak.
know, I have to say, like with my birthday being right after the holiday, which is like my birthday's like a few weeks after the holidays. It kind of sucked growing up because everybody's like and their holiday hangover. Nobody really wants to rally out like to go in the winter to party. So I feel like maybe like January birthdays in general are just probably like people coming off holiday hangovers and like are just bummed out by the weather and like
Oh yeah.
that's how I feel. I
Oh
don't know.
no,
And
no,
then
totally. Like I mean, it sucks being having your birthday in the like coldest month of the year,
mhm. But
and especially since I
February,
moved here. Yeah, like February's
February,
the
you
coldest
guys
shortest.
But you guys get like Valentine's Day, which I know has a
Uh,
bad rap, but it's one of my favorite holidays because I like anything kitschy. So like,
so so it's funny because my birthday is the 10th of February, and then we have Valentine's Day 4 days after.
yeah.
So I feel like that week is basically like, hey, you're older. 4 days
Oh no.
later, and you're single. Here's a razor blade. No,
Oh no.
it's just a reminder. It's
No.
like you're old and single. Have a good week.
Oh no. We have to
Or,
change that outlook.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, I'm cynical, but what is what my best friend says that I'm like a pessimistic optimist, which is true.
Which I understand. I know that vibe. And I was gonna say you're definitely not old. You do not strike me as old. So like I'm gonna come in and disagree with that
I
sentiment.
know.
But
I just well, older. Okay,
and
older.
and
And
Valentine's Day is designed to make people feel bad about being single too in a way,
yeah,
which sucks.
yeah.
Like, and I hate it. But I do like to decorate for it.
Oh yeah. I
Because
mean, I do love decorations for any holidays. Really. Well, maybe not 4th of July.
yeah, no, that's the only one I don't do anything really for at all. Like
Yeah,
0%.
I'm not too wild about America most days, and that's probably, I'm a
Oh my
heretic,
God.
so whatever.
And I'm about to say something that's like really probably I shouldn't say on a podcast, but like I think the after the after craze of 9/11 when everything became patriotic. Do you remember that? Like
Yes, yes,
I
yes, I do.
remember it. I remember it so well, and I think it just killed the whole thing for me. Like I
Oh
just
yeah,
remember like everything got freaking Americanized, like right down to like bags of potato chips. And I
yeah,
was like, and I just couldn't even believe it. Like after that, like amazing, crazy, horrible tragedy, like people
yeah,
found a way to exploit our flag. Anyway,
yeah.
that's a little tangent. But
No,
like
no, no.
I
I'm gonna pick up that torch. We're gonna play some relay. Uh, so I was at a bar one night, and there was this guy I was talking to. He was just like standing at the bar, and so I was making the small talk, and he proceeds to tell me that he was like I think he was a fireman or a cop or something during 9/11 in New York.
Mhm.
But then he said something about how, oh, it brought us together and a sense of pride in our country and blah blah blah, and he referred to like one of the like gas station or one of the whatever convenience store people, like I swear to God
Mhm.
he said towel head, and I was like, whoa. And then he just went like very racist on it, and then
No.
I I offended him, and he actually laughed because I said
Good.
something. We're talking about patriotism, and I said, "Yeah, it's real interesting that all these American flags that you're buying at these convenience stores and everything, they all probably say made in China, don't they?"
Yo, for real. Did,
And I said, anything for a buck is the American dream, right?
right?
And I just kind of went off on him, and I think they eventually just either that he got so offended or asked him to leave. But I was like, fuck your racist.
For
It's like the
sure.
people who actually love their country, and I feel like the immigrants especially are a lot more patriotic than the asshole straight white men.
No, for real. It's so now I'm gonna go into a little personal backstory because I'm half Iranian and I'll never forget like when I found out about 9/11. It
Hmm.
was when my brother's friend called the house and he didn't even say hello. He said, "Your people are at it again." And I
Oh
didn't
my
even know
god!
what the fuck he was talking about. I was like, "What are you talking about?" Because I hadn't seen anything on the TVs or anything yet.
Right?
And he's like, "Turn on the TV." And that's literally how I found out about 9/11. And then like
Jesus.
from there moving forward, like my dad came here in the late 70s right before the revolution happened in Iran,
Mhm.
and he came here to study, but like he like I remember those days very like vividly because it was more like don't tell people you're Iranian. Like it was
Right.
more like
Right.
don't because you can get away with it. Like
Well,
you're
and it's sad
American
because
and like
you're passable, is what they would
I
say, and
do.
that's
Yeah.
bullshit. That's
Exactly, and,
that's
like,
so fucked up.
I grew up here, and so, like, I don't have an accent, and I barely grew up speaking Farsi, so, like, I passed as American, but, like, I remember, like, that time period, my dad was just like, "You don't have to tell people." Like, and I
Yeah,
remember, like, kind of feeling, like, gross about it, like, and pissed, like, "No, I'm
it
gonna
is
fucking tell
gross.
people." Because I was, like, kind of a little rebellious back then too, and I was, like, going to all the anti-war protests and shit like that,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I just remember those times being oh, like a little bit more feral than they are now in terms of like how free people were with how they spoke and like
right, right.
just it is I don't know, just stuff to reminisce about. But like it really kind of shaped like me in my own way, my own cultural way with trying to figure out like how to be American and also like identify with this culture that I don't really know totally. Like,
Right.
I didn't grow up in Iran. I didn't like experience what Iranians did over there, you know?
Yeah,
So like I don't know, it's just it was a wild time back in those days, like the early
yeah.
2000s, like and sorry we got on this heavy topic right away, but
No,
like
it's good. This is I love this shit. No, and, and
yeah.
and then there's me who feels like my culture is quite boring. The only thing that
I
was my
I feel like your I feel like your culture has like tons of not boringness to it.
No,
Like,
there are so many days, and then so many people are probably going to be pissed off, but I don't care because I think I've told everybody this anyway. But there are days where I wish I did not. I have a saying, and it's usually every day, but it's not always. But sometimes I'm just like fucking white people,
hmm
um,
hmm
because it's like I'm not necessarily ashamed to be white, but I'm not ashamed. Um,
there's
I don't
there's
know,
just a
but
lot in general right now to be ashamed of, that it's
yeah,
like hard to identify with a lot
yeah.
that's going on right now, like
Well,
personally
like
speaking.
when the Black Lives Matters, when the riots were happening, and when they had the curfews. I remember I was leaving my friend's house, and it was like 2 in the morning, and it was way past curfew, and I was driving home, and there were like cops everywhere, and they didn't stop
Yeah,
me, and I know they fucking didn't stop me
yeah.
because I was white. But then
hmm
it's like if they would have, and then they found out I was gay, then that would have been another, So it's like
Yeah,
I don't know,
right.
but
It's horrible. It's like, oh, I
so
know.
it's just I felt so pissed that I'm like they're not stopping me because of the color of my skin, and I
hmm
just felt like disgusted. And I live in a very, very heavily African American populated area in Atlanta, and
hmm
so it just I don't know.
They didn't
It's
even look. Yeah, it's
I don't know, just
horrible.
and that whole thing, and I feel like because and I talk about them a lot because people are like, "Oh, you shouldn't talk about politics." I'm like, "I will. Oh, I will." Especially after Trump got in office, I'm like, I'm not going to
Oh my
stop
God. No, good
because
for you.
that asshole made everybody else feel like they could say whatever the fuck they want. So why not? Why not the other side do it too?
And he set us back so far with
Yeah,
like yeah. So I agree. Good for you.
yeah,
I'm the kind of person that I have a lot of opinions and very strong opinions.
same.
I'm afraid to share them on social media. That's like my one thing, because social media has ways of interpreting
Oh
things
yeah,
and twisting and
yeah,
turning and making
yeah.
things what they aren't, that
Mm-hmm.
like, and it's impossible to have a discussion
Yeah.
because people are already on the attack. And so
Mm-hmm.
sometimes like with social media, like I have to take a step back from that, but I learn a lot from other people's posts on socials. Like
Yeah.
I do get a lot of good information, like things that like I genuinely are learning, like other perspectives on different topics, and it's good to have it. But just personally speaking, like I get so scared and anxious to even say how I feel, because there's somebody out there that's like gonna I think I have very radical thinking too sometimes, like
Yeah.
radical on the right side of things.
Oh
Like
yeah. Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
we need to stop working, we need to stop, like there's like all of
Yeah.
that thought process. But
Those
like
countries where they only work like was I don't know however many days and they like take naps and then they have like
yes,
so many weeks off. I'm like, why don't we do
absolutely.
that?
Like why do we have a mental health problem? Oh, because I firmly believe because of work. Like because
Yeah. Well,
work.
that's part of it. And then part of it too is and I'm probably misquoting or not quoting, but I'm like my history is wrong. But I think during Reagan's presidency, they shut down a lot of mental health facilities.
hmm No, I
And
remember
then
that. I do remember that.
yeah,
Because there's tons of like abandoned ones all over the country still.
yeah,
They're like fucking
yeah.
creepy as hell.
I know. I went to one time. It was oh god, maybe not 20 years ago, but maybe like 15 or so.
hmm
Um, with some friends, and it was like it was one of those weird. Like I swear to God, it was full moon and Friday the 13th, but it's possibly I could be wrong.
That's
But
awesome.
we went after we hung out, had drinks, and it's now a skate park apparently. But we like toured the place, and there were all these like the two-way mirrors, and there was the rooms, the
Yeah.
padded cells, and the morgue, and I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. That's right up my alley. There's one like
Yeah.
that in Buffalo too, that like I've never personally went in, but like rumors were that like people would take strings because they'd be worried about like getting lost or something.
Oh
So
yeah, we
like
probably should have
when
done that.
but like I guess there was like too many strings, and that like aided to the creepiness, because like you're like walking in and like I don't know. That was like a
Yeah.
weird detail that I remembered. I personally would like lose my mind if I was in a place like that. I would like,
Yeah, it was wild because I don't remember I can't remember if we had the flashlight or not because we all split up, which is the worst thing to do, like especially in a horror movie.
that's awesome though.
But there was
Like
this
blow
guy, and
it.
like I'll never forget. I think his name was Mo, and like I just thought it was funny because his name was Mo. But like I don't know if he was straight or gay or what or just whatever. But like we were just like walking around together, and at one point we both got scared. And wound up like holding hands, and I was
Ooh,
it's like, damn, how you doing? Like,
yeah.
but yeah.
That's a
So it was fun, but it was creepy.
yeah, but that's also like a fun place to like it reminds me of like that My So-Called Life episode when they were all
Oh my god,
like when
the
he wanted to
Halloween
take
episode.
Angela's when he wanted to take her virginity in a fucking warehouse or like
Oh my
factory,
god.
like on a mattress on the floor. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah. No,
How
I thought that was
dare
a
him?
Halloween episode, but that was a different one. But
Oh,
yeah, oh
was
my
it?
God.
Wait, I might be getting episodes. Oh no, I think it was like
No,
right
you're not. I'm
around
getting
the
it
time.
wrong.
Yeah, the Halloween one, that's the ghost one in the
Yeah, yeah,
library, right? With the
yeah.
oh,
Nikki
oh
Driscoll.
yes, I love that. Oh my, I sorry, now we're back on this show because I have a lot to say about this show.
I have
Like,
so much to say. I signed a petition to get them to keep it back on, and it never. This is when the internet was like just happening.
let's start it again. I will spearhead whatever we need because I feel like we could even have something like where they're older now and they like do like a back in the day like a Wonder Years type thing, you
Yeah,
know?
just
I
not
don't
have
know.
Jared Leto because he's turned out to be a creeper.
And he was a creeper in his character too, so maybe he just like
Oh
died
yeah,
early or something. No, I shouldn't
yeah. That
say that.
fucking
Like,
that damn Red song. Thinking about her, but it's about his damn car.
do you know how many people Jordan Catalano like basically catfished in life? Like
Yeah,
there's I feel like I could blame all of my like issues with past relationships on just
no.
Jordan Catalano. Just
Uh,
him. Because
but
we
but
never had a resolution. We never had like the time Angela was like just completely done with everything after, like we were getting there, but we never got it. So
yeah. But don't you love the way he leans?
no, no. I hate everything about
Yeah,
him
I know.
now, but back in the
I
day,
know.
I would have done crazy things to him.
Well, it's so funny because like the older I get, and this is with everything though, like I watch that and I'm like, I'm with the parents. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, you know.
Or the little girl. What was Angela's sister?
Oh yeah.
What was her little name? Oh my,
Oh my God.
ah,
I can't remember.
me neither. But she was cute.
I can't even remember the parents' names. It was I know their last name was Chase.
Well, the father's name was Graham. I remember that.
Graham and
Patty,
Patty.
and Graham.
Patty
Yep.
Chase. Oh God! Oh, and the Halloween
Oh yeah.
episode where they rented those costumes and then they ripped them because they were getting it on.
Yeah. Yes, that was excellent. That was excellent acting too. He was a
I know.
pirate, actually. You could at
Yeah,
your pirate party
yeah, I
dress
know.
like
Yeah,
Graham
I
Chase.
should. I should. Yeah,
That's
all I need to find, I mean, I probably have a peasant shirt somewhere, but like I have all the rest of the stuff. I need to fix my eye patch because it's not. I used my eye patch a lot during the Madame X period, because she had the
mhm.
eye patch. So naturally, I did. My whole life has just been me following the Queen. We'll get back to her later. We're still on my
I'm not
so-called
mad
life.
at that. I love her. I love your love for her. I love following your love for her. Like now, anytime that there's an update about her, you're literally the first person I think of.
Oh,
Like I'm like, is it gonna like? It was honestly when she just got sick. I was like, oh my
yeah,
god, this is like the worst thing to ever happen to Nick. I can't handle this
yeah.
for him. Like
My
it's not.
my phone blew up, and I just really tried not to think a lot about it because
Yeah,
I go insane.
yeah,
But it's fun because I feel like my love for Madonna and everybody that I've well, maybe not everybody, but most people I've known, they associate her with me or
yeah.
vice versa. And so I feel like even the people that aren't in my life anymore and that may hate me or exes or whatever, I feel like I get to hunt them.
Oh, hell
'Cause
yeah.
they'll be in the grocery store and they'll be like, "Doo, let me get some bread," and all of a sudden they'll hear like the strains of like a prayer or something, and they're like, "Ugh." Like they'll think
I
that they
love
forgot
that.
about me.
I get so like kind of salty at people's comparisons of Madonna to anybody because
Yeah,
I especially like Britney Spears because when you think about the longevity of, of Madonna's career and like how many hits and singles I remember growing up with and
yeah,
like it was literally like we're talking just in my own personal childhood like uh 18-year span, right? So
yeah,
like
yeah.
so Britney Spears, I love her, but like her career did not have that kind of longevity, and I just get really mad. I think Madonna's like more on a legendary spectrum than a lot of
Yeah.
what she's compared to, you know?
Yeah, I think my biggest comparison is good old Lady Blah Blah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's
um,
been moments. Am I wrong in saying, here's a deep cut. Did Lady Gaga sample Express Yourself? Because
she didn't
honestly,
sample it, but the time signature and everything else, it's the same song.
it is, and, like, I remember feeling that from the beginning, like, this just sounds like Express
Yeah.
Yourself, and, like, I I feel like she owes Madonna an apology, like
Well, then the thing is, everybody borrows from everybody, and it's not the first time. But I think the funny thing is just the way she reacted. Because when
yeah.
she was called out on it, she was like, "Oh, Whitney Houston inspired me to write that song," and I was like, "Okay,"
Oh,
because it
that
sounds
was
like such a Whitney Houston song.
you know that that was, like, said as a slap, like,
Yeah.
Lady Gaga's smart enough to know, like, when
Well,
she's
she even lied on like Leno or whatever it was because she said, "Oh yeah, we talked to Madonna's people and they gave her their blessing and they love it," and that was not the case. I mean,
yeah.
they didn't say they loved it or hated it, but it's like they never, they never said yes or no or anything.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It is weird. I mean, I know that there wouldn't be a lot of the pop girls if it weren't for her. But I also
Oh, no.
know, to give credit where credit is due, Madonna wouldn't be around if there weren't so many other influences. But
It's
I feel
true.
like she was a sponge for everything culturally.
I I can't think of anybody before her though that had her vibe. Like her vibe was really like she was picked up off the streets, like was like spunky as hell. Like I don't know. I just think like her vibe was just always legendary and unique. Like
She was very New York, and I think that she was very, like, in the beginning, that was very like a small sect of people. I mean, because she was hanging out with
yeah.
Keith Haring and she was dating Basquiat and Andy
Mhm.
Warhol and
So
that whole
cool.
downtown New York club scene,
Oh my
which
God,
I don't
take me
think.
there right now. Take me there
Yes,
right now. Let's
there are days when
just
I wish I was born a little bit earlier, just a little
there
bit.
there are days that I just wish I could come up with a time machine because I would just be all over the map. I would be in the future and the past. Like, I don't
Well,
know.
Amy Poehler said, I think in her book, um, what's it called? Yes, please. Yeah, that's what it's called. She said that time travel is real, and you can time travel
Ooh,
through music,
it's
and
true.
that
It
is
is very
100%
true.
true.
That is very like there's still songs to this day that where I could like smell a
Hmm.
room that I was
Yeah,
in when I hear
yeah,
the song. Like
yeah.
or feel like a emotion I was feeling when I first heard it or
Hmm.
think about a random freaking memory like that it triggers about your childhood or something, you
Yeah,
know? It's wild how music does that.
yeah.
I wish music did that for everybody. I am always fascinated by people who don't love music because it's always just been like a natural thing in my life. Like I've always just loved music
Yeah,
since I was a
I
kid.
don't understand that at all. Like, I don't know how you can. Music is why I'm still alive.
Same, yeah. I
It's a bold statement, but it's like music got me through when there was nothing else.
I agree. I agree.
So,
I think about that a lot. Radiohead specifically. For
oh,
me, like Radiohead like was a saving like cuz yeah, cuz they have like I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to get too personal, but I do agree. I do agree.
I know I was
Yeah.
talking with somebody. Oh God! So I remember in high school, and this was, I guess, Pablo Honey came out in like '93. So I remember going to a record store across from the high school and buying this CD, and then I bought like a Madonna erotica poster, and I just remember getting
Nice.
home and listening to Pablo Honey for the first time, and I was like, oh my God! And it's
Pablo
still like,
Honey's a great record that gets completely not enough attention.
oh
Like
yeah,
it's a great record, like from start to finish.
it's
Like
not my favorite of theirs, but it's still great.
no.
It's nostalgic, and it was very like of a time and a moment.
I mean, it does put it is in my last place like it is for everybody else, but
Yeah,
I don't think it's as like not as because I don't think people value it as much as they do other albums, but I do. And I
yeah.
remember so I got into Radiohead from that album too, and I had a B-side from there that had a song on it. It was actually the Creep single, and it
Hmm.
had this song called Faithless the Wonder Boy on it. And the
Hmm.
lyrics of that song were just so adorable that I was like, I'm gonna love this band forever. And I literally have. And like, if I would have known the journey they were about to take, like, and
Yeah,
how fucking iconic they were about to become, and like the different kinds of sounds they were about to make, I would have never guessed that. But like, I remember just that moment being like, and then the Bends came out,
yeah.
and oh, that was such a great album. Then OK Computer turned my life upside down. I was in high
You're about to say,
school.
okay, Cupid.
I did, which also turned my life upside down.
Yeah,
So, like,
same. Mm.
for real.
Yeah,
But
OK Computer is definitely my favorite of theirs. Of course, Kid A is amazing too. I'm not familiar with in Rainbows.
mhm.
Like, I feel like their newer stuff I haven't really listened to as much.
Yeah, I
And that's
I
my own
I
fault.
I do because of like my crazy obsession, but I it took me a while to get into Kid A after that computer like explosion. It was like it was really hard to like go from OK Computer to Kid A. Like it was just
Yeah,
so weird and so different. And I remember being like really into punk in that time period. So like when I heard Kid A, I was like, oh God, I'm not ready for this. But then
yeah,
like 2004 and 5, then I started getting back into it. And I was like, oh, this is actually very genius and
yeah.
like super good.
I'm
But
still amazed that I've never seen them live.
oh my gosh, so can I tell you, because on your podcast, your first one, you talked about the Tibetan Freedom Concert.
Uh-huh.
Can
Oh
I
yeah,
tell
yeah.
you my can I tell you my Tibetan Freedom Concert story? Because it is
Of course,
Radiohead based and it's
of
so
course.
crazy. It's the craziest story ever. So this was like 1998, I think. It was
Yeah.
the DC Tibetan Freedom Concert. And
Hmm.
we had bought our tickets online for like the first time that you could possibly even do that, really. Like it was like we found tickets to this sold out event and it seemed too good to be true, but we bought them anyway. And it turned out they were too good to be true because they were counterfeit.
Oh no.
So, and we drove all the way from Buffalo to DC. So, and it's just to see Radiohead. All three of us that were together, like, were obsessed with Radiohead. It was like during the height of OK Computer, and like, it was going to be an amazing show. And so we went down and we ended up buying scalp tickets after we found out they were fake. We had like ground floor tickets, but then we ended up in the nosebleeds. It started raining. The
Oh, God.
rain made everybody crazy. We jumped over onto the floor to finally get down to Radiohead. And as we did that, um, 11 people got struck by lightning.
Oh my God.
And it's crazy when I think about it because at the time there was no internet, no like viral things. So for my whole life I thought one person got struck by lightning. It took me to go back like just last year and research what happened. It was actually 11 people. And they had to shut down
Oh
the festival
my
and
God.
we didn't get to see Radiohead. Like we were crying and like eating nachos in the rain, like sad,
Oh,
like our eyeliner running down our face. Then and we had to get back because we were sophomores, like, we had to go to finals, like, we couldn't go the next day when Radiohead was gonna reschedule and play. So
Hmm.
anyway, we're just sad pandas, and we're driving back to Buffalo, and we hear on the radio that Radiohead played a fucking free show at the 9:30 club that night.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, that was like my first time trying to see Radiohead, so it was like really very traumatic. Every
Oh,
time after that was like amazing though. So I guess like I made up for it, but like that first story, I feel like would have been like internet like
yeah.
everybody would have gone crazy the way they do now on the internet, and like it's so forgotten that like at a festival 11 people got struck by lightning. I was there
Oh,
for it. I was there for it.
we both
Sorry.
cried at the Tibetan Freedom Concert, but for different reasons.
Yeah. Wait, so remind me what your reasons for crying at the Tibetan Freedom concert?
Oh, because I was in front row for Chili Peppers, and then the mosh pit happened on the other stage for Rage Against the Machine, and I got pushed all the way back.
Oh, ew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was like, I'm gonna like make eyes at Anthony Kiedis, and he's gonna fall madly for me, and it's gonna, it's gonna
And
this is my ticket in.
was he wearing a sock?
I don't know because I was on the bleachers afterwards, like crying. I could
No,
hear
that's
them, but I couldn't see
terrible.
them. But I was like, mm.
Yeah, that I mean, nothing was like I don't know. I feel like shows nowadays, like kids don't know what we actually went through back then. They
Oh yeah.
really don't. You know,
But
it
it was
was
worth
wild.
it. I got to see
Yeah.
the Beastie Boys, which were amazing. I got to see Bjork, my one and only time ever
Oh,
seeing her, and it
I've
was
never
during
seen
Post.
Bjork. That's
It was during
amazing.
it was Post, and she had that orange hair that she had from the "I Miss You" video.
That's amazing. I
Yeah,
love that.
and it's
Jealous,
such a
so jealous.
oh well. I mean, I'm sure you've seen people that I would kill to see. So
But this is probably true. I've seen a lot of shows, but like
same.
I I would love to see Bjork. I've actually never seen Bjork, and that would be such a delight. Do you know who I've never seen that you're gonna like kill me, and I need to?
Oh,
Um,
who?
Tori Amos.
Oh my God.
Wait, no, I lied. I'm lying to you. I'm lying to you. I saw her at Bonnaroo, but it wasn't that.
Oh,
It wasn't like seeing her. You know, like
right.
it wasn't like the way you're supposed to see Tori. It was like pushed back in
Yeah.
the back of the crowd. I'm like,
Yeah,
no.
I've seen her 4 times. Like I've slowly gotten back into her because I feel like we were really good friends and we hang out all the time and then we lose touch
Yeah,
and then it's like,
yeah.
"Oh, you've changed. Yeah.
It's
You're wearing your
true.
hair different. That's a new scarf." Oh God.
She looks fucking beautiful though. Like
Oh yeah.
how is she so like timeless and everything she does?
Yeah, but I mean, it was
Okay,
a great show. It was lovely.
have you seen Fiona Apple? Are you a fan of Fiona Apple?
I am, except for the last album, because I think it was the time it came out.
The
It made
COVID
me
album?
really, yes, it made me very
Mm,
anxious. And I think it was supposed
yeah.
to, but it wasn't a good anxious. I was like, I can't listen to this right now.
I did not get into that album either, and I remember feeling like because my stepdaughter is really into Fiona and she loves that album. Like that was like what got her into Fiona, and I was like, I'm not I didn't vibe with it, but I did all the other ones, even like the one the the Idler Wheel one. That one I think is such
Oh,
a
yeah,
I thought felt like that was a genius album. It I really got into the whole album of that one, like
yeah.
start to finish.
I mean,
Um,
still, the first two reign supreme. Actually, I like Win the
yeah,
Pawn even more than Tadal.
agree. Win the Pawn is like my go-to
Or is it
favorite.
Tidal? Is it Tadal or Tidal?
I
Tidal,
think I
Tidal.
call it title, but it could be Tadal.
Okay.
Like we're fine with
I was being
any.
pretentious.
I
Tadal.
like it. I like it. It sounded very like fancy.
Well, I was thinking of because she said she's got that carry on song and the
Yeah.
pronunciations. Anyway, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, the first album was very much we used to listen to that a lot going to school in high school, like I think senior year probably.
Yeah.
And then when the Pawn when it came out, holy
Oh.
shit, that's
When
just
she started with her little like her little like voice thing that
yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
oh, now I'm in. Like I'm all in. Like we've
yeah.
got like and yeah, I just remembered an interview I saw with her about the name title, just to like throw this in because I'm like a nerd about facts. But she named it title because she didn't have a title for it, and it's supposed to be title, but like she changed it to title because her life turned into a tidal wave after this
Uh,
album.
oh, I
And I
see.
and this was from like a Matt Penfield interview that I saw like from
120
100,
minutes.
yeah, like from 120 minutes. So like, and she was so young when she was talking. I was like, oh my god, she's so baby. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, because she was like a babysitter for some record exec or something like that.
hmm, yeah.
I don't
Well,
know, but
that's how it works here in New York, and it pisses me off. Like, I'm still waiting to meet my person. Like,
yeah, I know.
the, you know.
Yeah,
Anyway.
someday I want to do music again, but it's been so long. I don't even remember how. Like, I made an album and I don't even know how I did it. And it was like, it was
That's
just,
awesome, though.
I just fucked around until I did something, and then some of it I listened to and I'm like, oh God, and some of it I'm like, oh, it's not bad.
Oh my god, I would love to hear it. Hell
If I can
yeah.
find it. I have creative ADD. That's the problem.
Oh,
I
same, big
like
same.
I start a project and I'm like, I want to do a painting. No, I want to write a song. No, I want to write a book. No, I want to.
Oh my god, like it's chronic for me. Like at this point, it's just how I cope. Like it's like
Yeah,
I have a new idea, I have to write it and go
yeah,
and see where it goes. Usually it doesn't go to the end though. So that's the only thing
yeah.
that
I mean,
I don't know.
my book I think is done. I think I just need to edit it and add pictures and artwork because I'm
That's awesome.
sick of writing it.
Wait, so what is your book about? Is it a
Oh, it's an
fiction,
autobiography.
nonfiction? Oh, I love that. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I started it during pandemic because I needed to cope. So it was me and a laptop and a bottle of wine and the world's oldest romance.
I love that. Yes, good for you.
No, it's good. It's just
That
a
takes a
lot.
lot of focus. Like writing is
Yeah.
a whole other creative beast. Like that I
Well,
have
and
yet to.
I've finally gotten to the point where I've let people read it. Like my friend Bridget read it. I think there are two or three other people that have read it. Um,
That's awesome.
and a lot of people said it felt just like a conversation with me, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, that's I guess why I feel it's fun to do the podcast this way because it's like I don't, I'm not structured. That's I guess the Aquarian
Mhm.
in me.
Love it.
So I'm just kind of all
I'm
over the
not
place.
I'm not a very structured person either. Like I come up with different ways to be structured sometimes, but like for the most part, like I hate actually having like an overscheduled life. You know, like
Yeah,
it's I
yeah,
try to like have as much flexibility as I can, but then it turns into like moments like we've experienced, like trying to schedule a time to be on this
yeah.
podcast. Like I, so the
Well,
life
and
of
it's been
things.
fine. Everything happens when it's supposed to happen, and
Yeah.
it's just been good. And I've had a lot of different people say that they're interested in doing it, and then I've had people listen to it, and they're like, "Oh my God." And so I think as of today, I've had 40 listeners, and I was like,
Okay.
that's amazing because that's
A room
a
full of
hell of
40 people is like, and if
yeah,
you look at it like that, like that's an audience. Like
yeah.
that's amazing. I
I
love
am
that.
very. I mean, they're probably all my friends, but I'm still very appreciative of it. And I mean, it's been good, and I feel like I get to know people even more through this.
Hmm.
Um, it's fun. It's just
And I love that too because like meeting people through memes and like Instagram and stuff like the way we met, you
hmm
can really kind of almost like initially pick up a vibe. But
yeah.
like when I listened to you speak on your podcast, I was like immediately knew. I was like, oh man, like down the street, damn it. Like because you're
Oh,
just like a good person to know and just like the vibes are just right. And I don't
I,
know.
I
I
I
hope,
wish I lived in New York. Believe me.
yeah.
God. Like when I
I
was little, I was like, I'm gonna be like Madonna, and I'm gonna go when 18 years old and go to New York, and I went the
I
wrong direction. I went to Seattle.
I I I don't love living here. I have to admit it. Like it's like I've been over it for like 7 years and I've only been here for 10. So like I don't know. I never like to kill people's dreams about it, but I did go through that period in high school and like college where I was like, gotta live in New York one day. And then like you get here, it's kind of hard to live here.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Like,
I think why I never
so
have,
hard.
because I know damn well that it would just be insane, and you either have to live in the smallest place on earth, or like have 500 roommates and live in the
Or
smallest place on earth with
or get
five.
creative and try to,
Yeah,
like there's other ways, but like it's just always I fantasize about how easy it feels, like how it must feel in other places to like not go through what we go through, and just even inquiring an apartment, there's like you have to get a broker, you've got to jump through so many hoops, and it's
yeah,
like pay so many fees, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like I don't even know the wheel we're feeding. And
yeah.
I don't know, it just seems like I would like to live in Georgia, so maybe I'll come be your neighbor down
Okay. I mean, it's getting
there.
stupid expensive here too, so it's we're getting close. I mean, and now I don't remember when the film industry came, but ever since it did,
Hmm.
it's gotten crazier. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously at this moment, it's not that crazy because of the strike
the
and all that
strike.
fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not working with the company that you work for because of the strike. You're doing something else right now with work?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everything is shut down. No, there's no filming or anything, which I fully agree with the strike, believe me.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pivoting.
Okay. And so that's yeah, and so I know that's why you started the podcast, but then I was surprised to learn that you had work today. I was like, "Oh, um, I thought you were going back to work." That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, I intend to, but of course, I don't know when it's going to be over. So
Yeah.
this is just, I happen to just find a seasonal something, and I'm like, this is good.
Oh, that's good. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's less like where I was bringing it up because I felt like the last time we chatted about it, you were a little worried. You're like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And like, so
Oh
seems like
yeah,
you've got
no,
it figured out.
no, I'm like I've said in other podcasts, so I guess I'll
Mm-mm.
just say it here because I'm working for Spirit Halloween.
Oh my gosh! Yay!
Yeah,
That's
this is
excellent.
it's my third season with them, so hopefully I'll
That's
get a lot of
great.
cool stalkers.
Yeah, and good discounts, right? Like, I don't know.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's excellent.
Yeah, so
I
it's
love
good
that.
because I'm hoping that by the time that season is over, that everything will right itself, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Cool, cool.
Um, yeah, so it's been challenging, but yeah, it is getting to be crazy expensive here.
And so where are you around major city? I don't know if we talk
Oh,
locations, but like
I'm in Atlanta
you're in
proper.
Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
lived in
especially
Atlanta.
like,
Do you know I lived in Atlanta for 2 years, but I'm not going to be able to talk about it because I was like in kindergarten and first grade. And so
oh yeah,
my memories are like random shit, like taking a baseball bat to an anthill and like watching them explode, like in
oh my
ants like
God,
I've never seen in my life before, like crazy ass like swarms of them. Like
yeah,
I don't know if it's still like that down there, but it was like a jungle. Like I remember there were snakes and like all kinds of crazy wildlife. That's like the scope of the memory I have of Atlanta. But like I should go back. See. Maybe I'll remember more.
yeah.
Are you
It's
there still?
yes, I am. Sorry, I was just
Oh,
listening.
sorry.
Um, I was thinking about ants. There were ants I saw today. They're look like giant radioactive ants.
Yeah, they're like I've never seen ant hills like I remember when I was a kid in it, like the cheer. Hey, were you always in Atlanta growing up?
No, I'm originally from California, like about a half an hour, 45 minutes east of San Francisco.
Oh, that's cool. So
Yeah,
did you
so
move to Atlanta as like an adult or did you have family?
as an adult, I moved here for my ex.
Okay. And then you
Yeah.
loved it so much that you stayed?
Yeah, and I kind of just kept getting friends, opportunities, and my old job before being in the industry, I was at a dog daycare for 13 years, but I was let go during the. Of course, it was more than that. The owner was like, "Oh, I was going to fire you anyway," and I was like, "Cool, thanks." So
Ugh,
I wasted 13 years, and I hope that business crumbles. I won't say it, but everybody
we
knows.
should make sure it crumbles.
I know. Every time I hear that they're doing badly, I'm like, good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me
it's
know
just,
where I can leave a Yelp review, an anonymous Yelp
I
review.
know.
I
Oh,
got you.
you don't even need to. They get enough on their own anyway because that place is run by idiots. So, yeah, it's
Yeah,
fine.
but
I mean, everything happened as it should, it sucked for a
mhm.
minute, but then you just kind of have to figure out what the hell you're gonna do.
Yeah.
So, um, life is weird. Life presents you
Hmm.
interesting challenges, and for a minute there, I was just gonna become a shut in, and that was that. But then I decided to go back to work, and um, yeah, Spirit actually got me back into the workforce, and then that through that, then I got the job, my regular job that I do now. So
That's awesome. I love that.
it's kind of
Like
kooky.
that's the way it worked out.
I
It's
know.
working out good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a world. I don't know. It's funny because it's like my best friend is like, oh, I always pictured you, working in that industry, and I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I would have always have lots lofty dreams, but I don't know if I ever was like, yeah.
Well, you
And
have such like a you have like aren't you like a Marvel fan too? Like are you into that? If I remember correctly, because I talk to a lot of people throughout the day, but I think like
um,
I remember you liking Batman Forever, or maybe
well,
just
I
the
do.
soundtrack.
Well, that Batman Forever is DC.
Is that Marvel? See, I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about.
That's
I'm
DC.
trying. I'm
Um,
trying.
well, I'm not well versed in the comic books, like any really.
Hmm.
So I'm just, and the ones I do like, I'm very particular, but so
Yeah.
I think most of what I'm familiar with is through like friends and my brother. Like my brother's very much into Marvel, and so I
Hmm.
have worked with Marvel a few times, and so he's been able to educate me.
I see. So I'm probably mixing you up totally with another conversation, so I apologize.
No, 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 no. I'm also like, I'm trying to be biased here. Because I'm like, I don't know what I should say and what I shouldn't, because I don't want to get myself into trouble. Uh,
Right. Oh,
no,
oh wait, now I remember. Okay, gotcha. I know what you're
no,
saying.
it's fine.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, but
Well,
yeah,
we could talk about fandoms because like I
yes,
have a
that
lot
is
to
my
say about
biggest,
that.
not pet peeve, but I'm just fascinated about people being into what they're into and not necessarily what they're into, but I guess why. The what is
I
interesting, but it's like, why are you into that?
I couldn't even tell you how, but like my pandemic hobby became doing a Bravo meme Instagram page that
Hmm.
blew up in my face. But 2 years later, like I got basically ran out of the community because it involved so much feuding and politicking and fighting over these housewives, like over what they're doing on these shows that like I and there's so much rationalization going on while it's happening. Like nobody wants to admit that we're all acting completely insane, right? Because we
Yeah,
really are. Like collectively, the whole community gets into these shows as if it's like a football game, right?
yeah,
Like as if there's like a winner at the end of the tunnel,
yeah,
and it becomes like a wild phenomenon. And I felt solace in knowing that it was not just me
yeah.
doing this. But like I also now that I've been ran out of the community and not a part of it, like that I'm just like, wow, that was a fever dream 2 years of my life that like I really spent a lot of my time dedicated to like arguing with fans online
Well,
about.
I feel like that's a badge of honor that you were ran out of that community. I feel like that's a feather in your cap right there.
I mean, the whole story could actually be written like because it involved like online trolling and all this like wild, deep, like just really unhinged behaviors, like completely
Right.
unhinged. But what I will say is that I'm back to watching Bravo. I literally got ran out of there so much that I couldn't even watch Bravo for like 7 months.
Oh my
Just like
God.
I was just like, what is happening? Like I had to reflect on everything. But I've been watching reality television my whole life that I've like now I'm on Big Brother, like I'm on a Big Brother like binge and I'm really into it and like it's a lot less crazy than the Housewives because it involves a lot less personal fights and more like just stuff about the game and it just makes me feel better. But like I don't know why I like this stuff. So going back to what you were saying, like why people like the things they like, I couldn't even answer. Like cuz at the time I didn't like what was happening. Like we fighting over reality television is not should not be a hobby for anybody.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people it is for. So
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
know. I can't even remember if I've ever seen like a Real Housewives anything
Mm-mm.
ever. I think I
Mm-mm.
watched a little bit of Atlanta just because it was here, but then I was like, no. Um, I don't know.
The Atlanta ones are not my favorite because the storylines are pretty weak. But like
Yeah.
they haven't had a juicy season in a while. But I don't know. Like I'm a gossip. Like I love like gossiping, and I love like tabloids life, and I shouldn't, but I've just always have. Like I don't know. I guess I'm the kind of person that would love the National Enquirer. Like if this was like 20 years ago, you know.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I got really wrapped up into that whole thing throughout the pandemic. Your pandemic was a lot more productive than mine.
I mean, the whole
But
thing wasn't productive, but I mean, it turned productive. I mean, I think originally after I got fired, I just like crawled into a bottle of wine and was like, let's go, let's do this.
mhm.
So, but then I realized I'm like, I have to do something. And I know a lot of people were like, baking bread and doing the whatever everything everybody else did. And I don't
The
know.
tie-dye shirts.
Yeah, I just had to
Yeah.
figure out what was, how to survive a pandemic.
Yeah.
Um, and it's weird
My
because I still feel like I get a lot of PTSD from it, and I hate saying that because I just like I always feel like I'm not being correct in it, but I'm like actually yeah, it was like that, and it was like that for a lot of people.
and you are being correct and actually like I feel like what's incorrect is not enough people talking about how the psychological impacts of it and like I remember like just it my anxiety levels before the pandemic were a lot lower than they
Oh
are now.
yeah,
And I just feel like everybody's kind of not everybody but collectively like there's a lot of us going through that and it's not really being recognized and it should,
yeah,
that like, you know, when you're told to stop working in a system that relies on work, you really feel like, oh my God, there's something really scary going on right now. Like,
yeah.
and going through that fear of not knowing and all of that. Like, I mean, I think we all deserve like at least a whole year off
I
after the
know.
pandemic. I'm like such an anti-work person. I hate to sound
No,
like
I
that, but like I just want everybody to have a vacation, permanent
yeah,
vacation.
that would be amazing.
Oh, why can't it be like that?
Because we live in
Oh,
America, and America didn't do that.
I sound like I sound like such a lazy person, and I'm really not. But like, I'm really at the end of my rope here with this workforce thing. Like, I just
Oh,
don't,
I know.
you know.
Well, you could be one of those horrible people that are like, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Oh, I get so mad at that. I'm like,
That's
have you
called a
ever tried
hobby.
that? Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that's all I do right now.
Yeah,
doesn't pay me money, but
I know. If
mm,
only, kind of. Like, I don't know. I'm afraid of those people that are perpetually optimistic. Like, I don't want to be total Debbie Downer all the time, but I feel like I'm more realistic than anything.
I agree. Well, I'm with you on that. And I also feel like the perpetual optimistic people are also like in denial. Like
Yeah,
it's like heavy denial. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be in denial about reality. Like I'm going to focus on the negative when it's negative and I'm going to like talk about it because it's happening, you know?
right.
And it goes back to like that old like 1950s America, like where nobody talked about anything, you
Ugh,
know? And
yeah,
the shit was falling apart around them. You know, it's just like, no, we're
yeah.
not doing that anymore.
It's hard. I mean, and that's especially being raised religious and then growing up white. It's, you just sweep all your problems under the rug and
Yeah.
that's that. And it's like nobody really talked about therapy. Nobody really talked about problems. Everybody looked at you funny if you were in therapy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, or like, exactly that stigma that if you even admitted you were in therapy, people would just like side eye you and already write you
Yeah,
off, right? Yeah, horrible.
yeah.
I'm
Well,
glad
then it's
that's
weird.
changing.
Then it's weird too because I feel like, even sometimes it feels weird because even if you're not hung up on telling people that you're in therapy and you're taking care of yourself, I sometimes worry too that when I tell people how I really am doing or whatever, then I just like, because sometimes your brain gets dark, and that doesn't mean
Mhm.
that you need to be on like suicide watch or anything.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know, and it's like, yeah, you have awful thoughts, and it's like, so sometimes it's like depending. I guess it just depends on who it is and who I can actually share that with. There are some
Mm-hmm.
friends that I can be like, everything's shit. But then there's some people, if you say that to, they're just going to be like, oh my God, and like perpetually worried. And I'm always been the
Or try
person
to
that,
fix your problem for you,
yes,
right? Yeah,
yes.
which is so annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the
Oh,
other people I hate that are the people that have the answer for everything.
oh, I know. I
Yeah,
can't stand it. That's why like I'm going through something personally right now, which you know, and I'm not gonna like
yeah,
go into
yeah,
it now, but like
yeah,
I'm being very selective with who I tell in my like real life and my personal life because
yeah.
I don't need anybody to come in and fix this problem. Like this
Oh
is
yeah,
something I have to work on, right? So it's like, but I can't stand listening to the solution based talking right now because like a lot of people they're like 10 steps ahead of me or like in a different place in my thinking that and I'm just like it just throws me off completely, you know? So I've been just like learned from prior breakups that it's like I just need to like take it slow with who I tell and like go
yeah.
through what I have to feel and like all of that before, you know.
Well, we're all different, and the thing is like people don't realize it's like there's not just one way to deal with things. There's not one way to do things. I hate it when people are like, "This is how you have to do it," and that's that. I'm like, no, because different things work for different people. People
Mm-hmm.
go at different rates. People have a different way of processing. They have a different way of everything. So it's like what works for you does not work for the other person. So it just
And
whatever works for you.
that's so true, and I feel like sometimes people, like, they get so wrapped up in not wanting to see you in pain
Well,
that
because it makes them feel uncomfortable. That's that they don't want to
yeah,
feel uncomfortable.
exactly, and it's like so then I find that I safeguard some of, like, my, like, saddest moments, you know, or,
Yeah,
like, I feel like I don't wanna burden people or, like, go through all of that, and, like, you know, and so I do feel like there are friends like you mentioned, like there's a core 3 that I feel like I could just completely be like completely candid and no one's gonna like raise any flags or like, you know, and those friends are like the ones you take to the end. Like you
right.
run the life marathon with them because they get it, you know.
Yeah.
But, oh wow.
Amen.
I've only had 2 drinks and I'm already tipsy. Ooh.
I just had the one, and I was like, I might need another one. I don't know. I just don't
I'm
know
like,
what I have.
getting tipsy on a Spotify podcast? Love it.
I
Let's do it
know.
more
Well,
often.
it's funny because I've actually drank on all of them so far. I haven't been gotten shit faced or anything, but it's
No,
just it's like cocktail hour, you know.
that's exactly how it feels. I wish like it's if it we can't be in proximity, then this is the next best thing, you know?
Exactly. It's like we learned from pandemic and Zoom and all that.
Hmm.
It's like
So
oh
true.
we can just have a drinky and talk on the interwebs.
Oh
But,
yeah.
yeah, it's just weird because and I hate saying it because it sounds so I guess abrupt, but I mean it is you you having issues and you telling people, and if they can't deal with it and they're all a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just trying to help, and it's just the thing is they don't want to feel awkward and uncomfortable. And I think a lot
Hmm.
of people, like, I wish sometimes if they didn't know what to say, they just didn't say anything.
It's true. And like sometimes it's even nice to even when somebody just says, I don't know what to say. Because then they're like not ghosting you and then you don't feel like,
Right.
oh my God, like, oh, did I, are they
Yeah.
too because when the ghosting happens, like there's just so much room for interpretation. Like, and my brain will run wild. Like I'll start being like, they hate me because of this thing that happened 10 years ago over this, like I'm my own worst enemy like that. So like I just think about like I don't know, and I always like to make sure I say like, okay, I don't know what to say right now, especially when it comes to
Yeah.
death. Like death is something that I always get like very like I don't know how to handle very well. So but I just make sure people know that. I think that's like all you can do in moments where like
Yeah.
if you can't emotionally process what's happening to your friend, like if
Yeah.
which shouldn't happen as much as it does, but like it does. It happens a lot in life. People are always in their own heads about everything.
Amen. Or
Yeah.
gay man or whatever. Um, yeah. And then there's me, which death is weird because I've experienced far too much of it. So I'm an expert.
Yeah.
I'm
I've had
the president of the Dead Relatives Club.
I I've had like some significant moments, but like I don't want to jinx it, so like I won't bring it up anymore. But like I'm scared. Like I'm a runner of from death. Like I feel like I'm like more on the other side of the spectrum, like the life spectrum, like the like little kids, like when they're like fresh and new. I'm like, wee! Like let's go run in the fields and play in the forest. Like,
Right.
wow. But like on the other side of life, I'm like, I'm really scared of that. Like,
Yeah.
no, I don't know.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't know. I feel like I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm not freaked out about it. I mean, I think I'm just kind of numb to it sometimes because like it's happened so much, and like it started like the first death I ever experienced was my mother, and that was
Oh,
just awful.
okay.
And
Yeah.
so I feel like that just kind of numbed me to the rest, and it's just I don't know. But
Yeah.
it is a weird feeling being one of the grievers because when people come up to you and say that they're sorry and they pay their respects or their condolences, your
Hmm.
instinct is to say it's okay.
But it's
And
not.
I've
Yeah.
learned sometimes just to say thank you and just move
Hmm.
on and just take the
Yes.
fucking casserole.
Yes. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I all of that like life is like gets me in like a very awkward zone. Like even when with so the big death that I was a part of was my grandfather, but he was the kind of grandfather that like raised me. Like it was like I lived with him, like. So like when I went and
Yeah.
experienced his death, like I like my way of handling it was just to retreat and hide. Like I was
Right.
definitely a hider. Like I was like when everything was happening, like the funeral and everything, like I was in my room. Like I wouldn't come out. Like I was just
Right.
like, I'm not facing this right now. Like this
Yeah.
is not for me. Like, and it's because I don't know why. Like I didn't even know how to talk to people about it. You
Yeah.
know, I just got
Yeah.
very like um scared, you know. But
I think I had my like, I'm like, I have to be brave and I have to be strong. And like,
mhm.
I lived out here when my mother died. So like when I was back home in California, I feel like when it was over, like I had to wait till I got home and then I fell
Mhm.
apart.
Yeah.
And that was like one of the many, 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 many red flags from my ex.
Uh-huh.
I
What
lived in
because
Chet.
he was not was he just not able to support emotionally? The worst,
Kind
probably.
of, but I guess the biggest thing, and I didn't think about it at the time, was that he was in Atlanta, I was in Chattanooga, which that was red flag number one, was the fact that while I moved cross country for him, he moved an hour and a half away.
From you?
Yes.
He did that?
Yes. And I was just like, but, and then I would just say, like, oh, but I moved here for you. And then he'd say, oh, but I never asked you to.
Oh, oh, the
Yeah,
oh
I
no. Oh
know.
no.
But I
Oh,
put up with it,
we
and it
need
was
to
a roller
roast
coaster.
him on a spit. Let's get
Yes.
him.
It was it
Get
was
him.
um it was a 6 year roller coaster.
Oh,
But a bigger red flag was when my mom died. I had a layover in Atlanta, and
mhm.
it was a 3 hour layover. So I was like, in I could drive there and back in the time
Yeah.
it would take me to wait. And so
Yeah.
like I was like, I'm not going home right now. I lost it in the airport. I was like, couldn't even speak. I was crying so hard. And like I
Uh-huh.
called him and I asked him to come get me, and he said he couldn't. And then I had to take a friggin' taxi to his place.
Are you serious?
Uh-huh. And I stayed with
Ew.
him.
Ew. Oh, I know. I would have done it too, but I get it. I get
Yeah.
your decisions, but like, ew, no, we don't like
Hmm.
him. He's
Yeah,
not
big time,
good.
dude.
No,
Yeah,
no.
it was just, and it was one of those things. Also, the older I get too, it's like I probably wasn't easy to date either. I think there was just, it was all wrong.
No, but I think also they want you to believe that too, that you're not the easy one. But like I think that like
Oh, well, I
I
know
don't
I
know.
wasn't at the
I'm a
time.
little jaded right now, but I also think that like
Yeah,
it should be easy, you know, like, and there are
yeah,
people out there that are just more compatible and like
right.
for you than that person. And,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I think I did a lot of shit too. I mean, I wasn't perfect. I think that's age. As you get
But that,
older and you realize
but
that there's,
nobody is perfect. That's the
oh
thing is like
yeah,
0% people are. So like,
yeah.
I
That's
don't know.
age and wisdom, is realizing that there's really no bad guy. It's
Hmm.
just there's just bad situations.
Yep. And
God,
also
that's
like,
smart. Look at me.
yeah. And actually, I need to hear that too. Like, I really do. Because like, it just applies to everything, you know?
Hmm.
It's so hard. Breakups are just the worst.
Yeah, that's why they wrote that song. Breaking up is hard to do. It's
It's
true.
it is.
I'm glad though that it happened. I'm glad
Mhm.
that we're not together anymore as well.
I'm happy too by the sounds of it because he did
Yeah.
not sound like he was worthy of your time or
I
soul
mean,
or presence.
the first year was really good though. It's funny because when we met, it was in 2000, and I remember, no, or wait, it was 2001. Yeah, it was 2001. That's right. Uh, we started talking in July, and then we met in, I think, August, something like that. Like I talked to him for 2 weeks. I drove from California to Tennessee to go see him. I had not met him yet. I was insane. I was like 23, and I was like, "Let's go see the world."
I
And
love that
everybody,
though. That was like before like before the times too, like before the
Yeah,
meeting people. Did you
I
guys meet
know.
in a chat room? Like, did you meet what was it, IRC? Like, how did we meet? Like, I
Uh,
need to know these
so
details. These things
we
get me really excited.
we met in a or on a website, a now defunct website called gaygoth.net.
Hell yeah! Excellent.
Yes. And it was like a bulletin board.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, like the message board, like the old
Yeah.
message boards.
Yep.
Yes, I remember this. I was a
Yeah.
part of like a punk hardcore one back in the day, like
Uh-huh.
where, and they got very active. So like you didn't even
Yeah,
have to like know who you were talking to, but you knew their
totally.
like persona and like I love that.
Yeah,
Okay.
he posted something and then I hollered at him and then he thought it was one of his friends fucking around, so he sent me the weirdest message. And I was like, "The
Yeah.
fuck?" And he's like, "Oh wait, you're not who I think it." And then we started chatting and like, you know, I instant messenger or whatever and then God, I haven't said instant messenger in forever.
Yeah.
Wow.
It just sounded so natural to me. I was like, yes, yeah.
And then we talked on the phone, which, I was terrible and I ran my mother's phone bill up
Mhm.
because that was, during the time of long distance before cell phones were a huge thing.
Yeah. I
Um,
remember that, like, the excitement I would get when, like, a door sound came
yep,
on
yep,
AIM, the because you,
yep,
like, would run there to see if it was your crush, and then if it was actually your crush, you'd be like,
yeah,
"Okay, my away message is going down now."
yep,
Like, oh, those were the days.
yeah. And then, so
Mhm.
yeah, for 2 weeks we talked and I was like, wow, I really like this guy. And then we joked around about like meeting at a Waffle House and I was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be like, it's going to be like Pee Wee. Oh,
Mhm.
now it just makes me sad. I'm like, oh, a moment.
I know, mhm.
Um, but
Wait, so you
yeah.
just, like, met him at a Waffle House, and then from
Well,
there,
no,
like, you
I
guys hit it
actually,
off?
I got in the car, I drove, I got to Texas, and that's where the Pee Wee part came in, because
Uh-huh.
the part where he's on the phone, he's like, guess where I am, and it's like,
Yeah.
and I was like, there's nobody around to sing it, and I was like, fine, I'm in Texas. He's like, you're really coming? I was like, yeah, and I drove like 2.5, was it 2.5 days? I don't know. I drove
Yeah,
nonstop
it seems like that.
because I'm insane. I was so excited. I was like, on my own and doing my thing. And so I drove to see him. And then I got to Cleveland, Tennessee, where he lived, which is also the headquarters of the Church of God. Um, and I called him and I was like, hey, I'm in Cleveland. And we actually met at a Waffle House. Oh, wait, was it Waffle House or Denny's? Shit, I'm old. I can't remember. I think it was probably Denny's.
I lo
I'm a liar.
I grew up at a Denny's, like, sitting in
Yes.
that high school in the smoking section, so,
Yeah.
like, that sounds more, like, familiar. I didn't
Yeah.
have Waffle Houses,
Yeah,
but
I feel like it was a Denny's because at the time I would not have known what Waffle House was because
mhm,
that was just a Southern thing. So yeah, I didn't know about that yet.
mhm.
So I'm correcting myself. Yeah, we met at the Denny's in Cleveland and it was all flirty flirty and whatever. And I just remember that he was getting all like hot and bothered and he always like he never wore underwear, which I don't know how you can do that because I just feel like chafing and no, but like he would, he had a hole in his crotch, so he's like, so I don't get arrested for indecent exposure. We should go back to my place. And then we like,
Oh,
went back to his place and tore each other's clothes off. And then I stayed for 2 weeks, and then went back home. This was August, and then I moved in November, so it was super quick. Like I date like a lesbian sometimes.
but I love that, and actually, like, this story sounds, like, very, like, movie-like in a way, like, I like it,
Yeah,
even though it
like
did not
yeah,
end, like, but,
yeah.
like, that sounds like a fun dating story. I'm down.
It was fun. I mean, and the first year was really good. Like it was super like fun and romantic and just like, it was good. And then I think when we broke up that first time, we should have stayed broken up.
Mhm.
And it was just all that bullshit where I wound up like we broke up and I was like, I'm just going back home. Screw this. And
Yeah.
I moved back home for a little bit. And I just remember when I got there, he was like, oh, I was going to ask you to live with me. And I was like, no, you weren't. Because he knew that's what I wanted. And I was like, there's
Right.
just so manipulative.
And he wanted to see probably like the power of getting you back. Like, because
Yeah.
after
And
making the move of going all the way back home,
yeah.
like, ugh,
And I was,
terrible.
and I told him, I said, if anybody, he's like, there's, once you have your mind made up, there's no stopping you. And I said, you would have been able to stop me if you
Mhm.
told me not to go and you got in front of the U-Haul and everything. And you actually, you would have said something. Yeah, I wouldn't have gone.
Yeah. Isn't
And then
that amazing? Like,
I went back.
but that's
I
okay
went
because
back to Georgia because I'm a moron.
but
Yeah,
then
it's
you obviously you're still there, so you're meant to be there. Like
yeah.
that's like that to me is the universe. Like there's a reason why you're in Georgia right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
And
mean, I like it now. I mean, at first I was very angry and saucy about living here, and I blamed him for that. I was like, you know what? I came here on my own volition, so it's not his fault. I chose to be here just because
my
I came for
intuition,
somebody.
my intuition is telling me that you have yet to meet the reason why you're supposed to be in Georgia still. I'm going to say that very
Okay.
confidently. You have
All
yet to
right.
find out why, but you will. And like, it's going to happen.
I know.
Give it,
I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't think he's in Georgia. I don't even know.
or then just come to New York because
Yeah.
honestly, here, like, just now you need to.
I know. I'll just go to New York and stalk all my internet crushes. I'm like, hey,
Hell
I follow you on
yeah.
Instagram. I've actually done that in
See,
real life, and it's fucking weird. Like, I've seen people and I've gone up to them, like, I follow you on Instagram.
I've done that too. And actually, I don't think it's that weird. I think that's like like the point. Like, I think if anybody came up to me, which has yet to happen to me because I have a very little tiny baby following, but like, if it did ever happen to me, I'd be like, okay, let's go have a drink. What I'm stopping what I'm doing right now. Like, I'm
Yeah,
just so happy that like, I don't
I know.
know.
Yeah, no, I think that would be cool.
I think the
Yeah,
right person, I think like nobody should take their internet persona so famously. Like I feel like if anybody approaches anybody about seeing them online, it should just be like, we're friends now. It's cool.
yeah.
Like I don't
Well,
know.
and a lot of times, like, I feel like sometimes I feel like, I mean, I have my core group of friends, but they're like, I feel like I talk to a lot of like my Instagram people more than I do like people in real life. It's
Same.
like
No,
it's
but
weird.
big same. And like I even like was going through a period where I was venting about like my personal life more on Instagram with like people in DMs than I was to like my own friends, but I was getting it out so like I didn't feel like I needed to like double tell the story, like or like
Yeah,
go through it over and over and over again because that gets like exhausting just having to tell
yeah,
the same story over again. So like I realized like I was having a disconnect. I was like I need to like start going back to like my main girls like like
yeah,
I have my DM girls but like I gotta like at least update my in real life people because it's
yeah,
just easy. Like I love going on like being on Instagram saved me as a stay-at-home mom. Like I was so lonely especially in the first like few years of doing this after like having worked I went from like three jobs and like tirelessly working all the time to like being a stay-at-home mom and like which is a whole other beast. Don't get me wrong, it's not like what people think. It's like a very hard job, but like I also felt a little socially awkward with being a
yeah,
stay-at-home mom where like
yeah,
when you're given a job and you're given like a life like or hobbies and stuff like you're in social situations and you like kind of take them for granted because they're always there but like when you're in your own like when you're scheduling your own day and you have to like make time for like your kids' social lives and then your social life. Like it I don't know, like I hermited, I retreated. I was like, I put my social life last, and
yeah.
then And then Instagram happened and like pulled me right out because it was a way I could be social and also like do all my family stuff, you know, and like it's
Yeah,
just, and I love it. And I've met so many great people because of it, so I have no regrets. Like,
I know. It is nice when it's like a real genuine connection because like there are I have like 500,000 like Instagram crushes or whatever. And
mhm,
like and then I just, I slide into those DMs and I'm like, I'm trying and then I'm like sometimes I just have to give up. Cause like
mhm,
especially one of them, like he's super hot and he's cute, all Halloweeny, and I'm like, yay.
mhm.
And but then like he'll post things about like, oh, like these cute romantic gay movies or TV shows. Like, I wish I had that. And I even said in his DM one time, I was like, I'm trying to holler at you. And then he didn't say anything, and I was like, so I just stopped
Oh,
like messaging him, like whatever. It's so.
yeah. Also, like, wait, is Instagram being used for dating too? Is that what this is?
No,
No.
I don't know. I mean, I've met people in real life and sort of attempted to date, but
I've never had anybody holler at me on Instagram actually like
oh, I
that.
do a
So
lot. Like
this is like new. I'm like
no,
learning. I'm
there
like, oh,
yeah, no, there are so many like hot guys on Instagram that I'm like, hey.
yeah.
And then of course
I and I
some of them have boyfriends and I'm like, boo.
yeah. Because I talk to lots of hot people on Instagram. I've just never even like thought like to like treat it like I could. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, that's a way,
yeah.
that's a platform I don't feel anxious to use like I do online dating. Like
No.
I hate online dating. Like I think
Me too.
the whole thing is so like terrifying to me. I
I
just
will s- I will say though with the Instagram like sliding into the DMs there is one case where it I wouldn't say it worked, but I mean it's been real fun.
uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Um no, there's this guy he's a pop star and not many people I mean, well, I don't know how big he is now or big he's going to get. I feel like he's going to be really big. But
Mhm.
I don't know how big the fan base is. But his name is Bentley Robles,
Ooh.
and he's New York based, and he's gay and so hot. And I don't even remember how I discovered him, but he had a really big song called "I Hate the Weekend,"
Okay.
uh, and and I'm kicking myself because I can't remember his new single, so I can't really plug him too well. But I slid so hard into those DMs and I was like, hey, I mean, it's not just because he's hot, but I love his music too. And he's super sweet. And it's this fun, flirty thing where I'm always just like, well, he'll call me hubby. And I'm just like, holy moly. And he may actually be on my podcast. I'm hoping, please God.
Ooh.
So,
Oh, I love that. That's
yeah,
exciting.
yeah,
Okay.
because I asked him if he wanted to be on there, and he said that he'd love to, and he wanted to talk about it. I was like, cool.
That's awesome.
Um,
Oh, I'll
and I think
listen for
also,
sure.
I think this this whole thing isn't. It's not like an ego project. It's not to elevate me and make me like, oh, everybody listen to me. I'm so wonderful. I I want to talk to people. I want to gain wisdom. I want to. I don't know. I've just been inspired by so many, especially Julie Louis Dreyfus, who has her podcast,
Mhm.
and it's called Wiser Than Me, and she interviews a lot of people, women especially, that are older and wiser and gains all this wisdom. And I'm like, it's nice to have a conversation, and it's nice when it's fun, but it's also nice when you're gaining something, and it's not just like there's a point to it all.
Yeah, and I love that. And actually, I feel like the better podcasts that I like have enjoyed in the past have been more storytelling podcasts and less
Yeah,
like this is my talk show and but
right,
because that kind of like humility and like that like kind of like humble feeling it draws in a personal connection much deeper than I feel like than something that's like more planned and like overly produced, you know?
Right, right.
I
Yeah,
love what you're doing. I'm so happy you are, and I'm like so happy that we're doing this together because I didn't know
yeah,
what to expect, and it just honestly, like we said before, it feels like we're kikiing like
yeah.
and having like a good drink together.
Yeah,
So
that's what my friend Ricky was saying, who was on podcast number two.
okay,
He said it was just very voyeuristic, and I'm like, yeah, it kind of is. It's like listening into somebody's phone conversation.
yeah, I love that.
So
So
it's good, and it's just therapeutic, and it's just fun to like talk to people that I think it is interesting when it's like the first conversation you've had with somebody, other than just like instant messenger or DMs or whatever the hell.
hmm
When it's like it's on a podcast, like this is our first conversation. How
I
about that?
but I yeah, but I love that, and I love that everybody gets to listen to the first time that you and I've ever spoken to each other too.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, because honestly, like if they don't want to hang out with us, then they're not worthy of us.
right.
Just
Yeah, because
kidding.
sometimes I worry. I'm like, well, what if I
Yeah.
get the person on there, and I'm like, what if there's just no like? But then sometimes that it's just you're gonna jive, and it's just gonna work.
So true. So true. Oh,
Yay!
yay. I'm so happy we've done this. I'll do it again anytime you want.
Oh, totally,
Just
totally.
let me know.
There is some way that you can, I guess, record up to 5 people, which would be crazy. But
Oh,
I kind of want to try it just
that
like
could be a lot of fun though. Like that could be a lot of fun.
have a party.
Chaotic.
But the problem is like I don't know if anyone would be able to hear because it would be everybody talking over everybody.
It would be like a meeting. We'd have to like know when to chime
Yeah,
in and all that. But I feel like it could be done,
I
and
know
it
that
could
would
be
be fun.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
hmm
because there are a lot of great people that I want to, and there's some people that I probably have no business reaching out to, but I'm like, you just never know. So it's like I
hmm
know there are more known people that I've been like, hey, I'd love to have you on my podcast because you just never fucking know.
Just reach out because the answer's always no unless you ask.
Yeah.
That's
So
how
I
it.
don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Sweet.
been fun, and I definitely
Yay.
think we'll have to do it again.
Yay, thank you for having me. And I'll
Oh,
come on anytime you want. And I won't I mean, my scheduling is the only issue. But like other than
oh,
that,
that's
I'm
fine.
always down to Kiki. Like it's
Yeah,
just
and I'm flexible with that, and I think it's just at this point it's been good because I have enough people that are interested, so I can keep the
yeah.
ball rolling. And it's
Yeah.
like there's always somebody to talk to. There's always things to talk about. So it's like I don't think I'll ever run out of gas.
Nope.
Knock on wood.
Nope. It'll be
So
fun. Yeah.
yeah, well, thank you for coming on,
Of
and
course.
of course I'll holler at you in your DMs later.
Yay. All right.
That
Well, thank
sounds
you for having
terrible.
me again.
Oh, and well, we should give a shout out to your little what's
My
the
all the
trolls.
things that I little do. I know.
Yeah,
So I have a meme page. It's called Feed the Trees. And then I also have an art page. It's called Treasured Trolls. That's where you can find my artwork.
that's
That's
it,
all.
Treasure Trolls, because she
Mhm.
does these amazing blingy things, and I still need to send that Breathless Mahoney doll to you
Oh,
so you can
I
bling
will
her
make
out.
sure that she will get blinged and like also like I'm gonna make you a very beautiful like chain for her too. So like
Amazing.
I have like a vision already. Like the minute you showed me her, I was like, oh, I know what to do. Like I know I've got
Perfect.
this.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah. All
All right,
right. Well,
girl. Well,
you have
thanks
a
for being.
wonderful. Oh, sorry.
You're fine.
No, you go first.
I was just saying thanks for being on,
Yeah.
and you were telling me to have a wonderful night, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I had a great time.
Me too. And we'll
All
definitely
right.
do it again.
All right. Kisses.
All right. Bye
Bye,
bye.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.